I'd like to return and end where I began, that we are educating persons in their totality, intellectually and morally. We are teaching students the wisdom of the past, and I hope pointing them towards changing the future. Their future, all of it, is threatened now as never before was the future threatened in the history of humankind. There may be no future if the nuclear threat is not immobilized.
The first days of the Institute's life do still have vivid memories of those. We were setting up a new program plus a new focus, a new substantive focus. We were trying to have the most comprehensive understanding ever of the causes of political violence and war and the causes of peace, or what is really essential to make peace-building work.
Trying to control the nuclear world has been with Kroc, sometimes at highs, sometimes at lows, over 35 years, and I think that's very important. I also think that what's very clear is that the program that was created so that we would get students from countries to come and build a new peace and world order. I think we can find ways in which the unity of Kroc and its diversity of both its students, its messages, and the strengths of its areas of research and practice can continue to lead many global institutions at the educational level in what we can be and what we should be doing in peace studies at the college and university level.
It was really exciting to be launching a new program, to be right in at the beginning, to bring to life this vision that Father Ted had of bringing young people from around the world to study peace together, live together, and to, at the end of that time, to write a common statement about the future of the world. I think so much of the strength of the Kroc Institute has come from what we've learned from our students and our alumni over time. And I hope that we'll continue to be listening to them, learning from them, be challenged by them to grow in new ways, to be more inclusive and welcoming of really diverse perspectives that we would never have thought of. There are things that we teach and talk about now that weren't part of our agenda 35 years ago. And it's exciting to see how that's grown and how we have learned from the students and from the alumni as much as they've learned from us. And I hope that that can really continue in the future.
I think the Kroc Institute has a real role to play in the development of our field. And I think one of the very precious resources we have here at Kroc is our 35-year sort of legacy of alumni that we have. At our conference 2 years ago, we had alumni come from all over the world, and they are just doing the most incredible work. And it's very practical work, it's very kind of hands-on, very applied. You know, people who are really implementing the ideas that, you know, researchers like me sort of cook up in our offices or during our field work, but then to see people that have been in your class go out and get jobs in areas where they can use some of those ideas to actually help people. That is such an incredible thing to see.
A whole array of what Kroc studies and has expertise in is absolutely essential to the vision of this school. Our mission is integral human development, and that focuses on the dignity of every person and the person understood fully as a whole. And what does it mean to ask about the flourishing of individuals around the world, their communities? Without justice and peace, as Father Ted would say, without those two working together, then nothing else really can be accomplished. And it's not just about, as we know at Kroc, it's not just about mitigating conflict or stopping the shooting. It's about a deeper long-term transformation of societies away from conflict, or violent conflict, I should say. So over the first 35 years, we came a long way in the Peace Institute to understanding really what long-term building of peace is. And in the next 35 years, we have to figure out how to do it step by step, and we're on the way there already.
So when Father Hesberg envisioned the creation of an institute for peace studies, he thought about the idea of bringing in here to the United States and to Notre Dame, to campus, peace builders from all over the world who would study here the field of peace studies and later would be able to return to their home countries and form a network of peace builders. And his vision of creating that kind of a network has actually been realized. We have now a network of over 1,800 alumni who form this network of peace builders who cooperate with each other, who share information, support each other's work. So from that perspective, his vision of establishing this Peace Institute and creating this network has really been effective and has been realized.
I can't imagine this program in any other institute around the world, because only the Kroc Institute you have the combination of strategic peace building and the commitment to really not just teach, but also foster the scholar practitioner of peace building.
What has been, I think, the most valuable thing for me in working in this program for 12 years is just seeing what our undergraduates have done. They're extraordinary. I mean, I think they do things that continue to amaze us, even though we feel like we've seen everything that students could possibly do in peace studies. They continue to come up with really exciting and innovative ways to think about how peace studies fits with what their interests are. It makes being an advisor and being an educator a really meaningful experience.
You know, what I remember about Kroc is it's made up of people who are committed to students in the program, whether that's the master's program or the PhD program. I think that's what really distinguishes Kroc from any other field, because the purpose is to build, cultivate, develop scholar practitioners that make a difference not just in the academia, but also in the real world.
For me, peace studies is an attempt to take broader lenses to try to think about causes of human suffering. To my knowledge, the peace studies PhD program at Kroc is the only one that allows us to both study our own disciplines, to earn a PhD in political science in my case, and to explore interdisciplinarity within the peace studies program. So we become both great scholars in our home disciplines and peace studies scholars.
I would say my colleagues in peace studies, the other students, are the most insightful and diverse group of students that I've had the pleasure of meeting here on campus. And they bring their wealth of knowledge from across the nation, across the world, as well as their distinct disciplinary backgrounds, political science, American studies, art history, and bring those into the class in a way that very few other classes and very few other departments have allowed me that sort of interaction, that interdisciplinary interaction and intercultural interaction.
What I really noticed from the day one, that we are so diverse, and somehow we have this vibe of being friends. We are very close to each other. Among the whole cohort of like 34 people, but even our peace studies concentration at Kroc, we are 15 of us, and they are very close. Even though we don't agree on many issues, but somehow we find this connectedness to each other, even though we don't agree. And I think that's the whole point of peacemaking. It's when you don't agree on certain things, but you still connect.
My hope is that as we go out as the children of the Kroc Institute, that we are doing the type of work to make our professors proud, that we are lifting up this banner of peace, no matter how we define it, no matter where we are in the world, but that we're stepping into those never moments, and we're doing the work they have trained us to do, that we are becoming the scholars that they had always hoped, and then we're helping to train the next generation of scholars in that same vein.
I think the world is ready for academic knowledge with practical applications for groups, for NGOs, for companies, for government institutions, for international institutions. But I think right now the world, as I said, is ripe for a discussion about inequality and all the different forms of violence that it unleashes. I hope that in the next 35 years, the Kroc can focus on that and generate incredible academic knowledge that has practical applications for everyone all over the region.
I would like to see Kroc playing a role in helping scholars at risk, bringing people here to spend some time away from oppressive conditions so that they can make the contributions that they have to make, or helping them if they're under threat of arrest. We have a really important role to play in trying to keep or to maintain a level of open discourse about issues of oppression and justice at a time where there are increasingly limitations on what can be studied and what can be said in many parts of the world. So that's one thing I'd really like to see us doing.
My hope for the Kroc Institute for the next 35 years is that we would move on working on other themes with the realization that the old issues that have been of concern to us have been addressed, resolved. To give you one example, nuclear weapons and nuclear threats. This has been the prime reason for the establishment of the Institute 35 years later, and we are still engaged with this threat of a nuclear war. I'm hopeful that 35 years from now, this will not be a concern for us. Beyond that, I would like us to expand into areas that we are now just started embarking on, such as climate change, which will continue to be a central concern on a global scale. I would like us to focus more on issues of racial justice. And this is part of the initiative that we have recently embarked on. I would like us to bring the United States into a central focus of our work, something that we did not do much in the past.